Right, so coffee people around the world, today is a special espresso analysis with my co-host Dave, myself is Rob, that is who I am. We have 4 coffees that I was able to bring back from Japan. I actually have a lot more coming, but I put them in the mail and who knows when they'll ever show up. 3 of these coffees I actually purchased at one spot, this really special place in Tokyo, actually near Harajuku, called Coffee Mamaea. It's like this super high-end, you wait in line for like 20 minutes, and all they do is pour-overs and sell you beans. That's it. And they're wearing lab coats, and they're super knowledgeable. And so I got to taste a bunch of coffee, and I ended up bringing back a couple that are just so interesting, so amazing, and actually from coffee roasteries around the world. One is Singapore, another is Australia, and Code Black, I believe, is actually from South Korea.
So Coffee Mamaea does not roast their coffees. Nope. They only bring in the finest coffees from around the world, roasted by those roasters that they found the coffees from. So it's not only the finest coffees, but the finest roasted coffees from all over the world. And they just repackage it in their own like 150 grams?
150 gram bags, and they're nice and golden, and then in there.
And then they give you incredible service. They don't have any milk or any sugar. If you'd like to taste one of the coffees, you can. It's just very expensive to get that pour over. It's a tiny little pour over.
It was quite expensive, but
interestingly,
it's so worth it.
I found Coffee Mamaea when I happened to be in Tokyo unexpectedly for a couple nights. And I noticed this white dude at Glitch Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed him, he like left, and then he came back, and I was like, why do I know this guy? I'm in Tokyo, I'm not even supposed to be in Tokyo. And I was like, why do I know you? Are you from Philly? Are you from Texas? Are you a musician? He's like, no. He's like, do you work in coffee? I was like, yes. Turns out he was the Swiss barista champion multiple years, top 5 world barista in the competition 2 years in a row. So I had studied his actual performances. That's why I recognized him, because I had seen his face on these performances that I'd studied several times. And then he told me, hey, you got to go to Coffee Mamaea. It is insanely amazing. And one of the coffees that he had roasted, which had won World Brewers Cup, was actually there. Or at least I think it was his partner with his coffee.
Yeah, and that was a cool thing with like a lot of these coffees, a lot of them were already used in competitions.
Exactly.
So each one of these comes with a little packet of information, and recipes as well, which is really cool. And all 3 of these coffees were at some point or another used in coffee competitions.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can just tell by the look, the taste, they're so well done.
They're good.
And then the last one on the end here is actually from a little shop we just randomly ran into. It was a coffee shop / donut place, and I got a pour over there. It was, actually no, I got an espresso. I got both. I drink a lot of coffee, but I got their espresso there was like top notch. And it was just like a standard espresso blend that they had. So I figured, well, if that is that good, their Ethiopian must be pretty nice as well. And we were pretty lucky that I was right. So let's start off though with, let's start off with the coffee rights, and then we'll get into the Coffee Mamaea stuff. I said it was grapefruit acidity and orange sweetness, tart and sweet, but you had a different opinion.
Yeah, I just got, cordial cherry and lime.
Which when he said it, I totally saw it. This is why when we taste, we try not to talk about it at first.
Yeah.
Because it could influence, because as soon as he said it, I was like, I see that now.
When you write it down. Then you're like, oh, do I agree or disagree? Because you remember. And then you taste again.
Yeah.
But there's like this really sweet cherry-ishness, because cordial cherry is not like your normal fresh cherry. It's been soaking in whatever sugars. And then, but like wrapped in that chocolate, there's that sort of like moment of just like, oh, this tastes weird and good. But I feel like it was like someone put lime all around it, because there's still that lime acidity hanging out. It's just in the center of it. It was like getting to the center of that cordial cherry, that chocolate covered cordial cherry kind of thing.
And this is a Guji, high elevation Ethiopian heirloom that's totally natural. And the taste notes they had here are grape, dragon fruit, floral, and cedar, which is interesting because I don't think we got any, maybe grape, a little bit, but
the grape can go along with cordial cherry because there's that sort of like grape juice kind of like.
And granted, these tasting notes are meant for, I suppose, like pour over of some kind. So we're gonna get some different notes in the espresso.
Yeah,
that's that. So now on to some Coffee Mamaea stuff. Yeah, Home Ground, which is a coffee roaster based out of Singapore. This was really interesting. I mean, I got tahini cookie, dark chocolate, roasted lemon, But Dave got a very different tasting note, and after he said it, and after I drank it a second time, I had to change my mind on it and go wherever he went, which I forget now.
Pretty
So-
cherry Kool-Aid with fresh lime. Fresh lime
Yeah.
again, a lot of lime going on here.
And
but
almost
pretty
like
cherry Kool-Aid.
And when you said cherry Kool-Aid, like I almost felt like I could feel the powder of the like when you get the powdered Kool-Aid at
the
the supermarket.
sweetness.
It was that like intensely sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some more to
Wow.
taste. That's even better.
Let's double check that really quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is it says red washed. I have no idea what that means, but I imagine it's some kind of wash. Lower elevation too, 13 to 1600 meters. It is from the Corora farm in Ecuador, and it's the variety is a Sidra, which is actually like I believe a man-made mutation of the Arabica plant, and yeah.
Yeah, it is. I believe it was most first popularized, I think, in like 2017 World Barista Competition. It was Dos Palmas, y Tucán. I believe, was that Ecuador? It might have been somewhere in Central America. I think it might have been Ecuador, where they actually started using this, and it had, I think it won World Barista Competition or got second and third. It definitely won the U.S. competition. People were really excited about Sidra.
Yeah, I mean, and the tasting notes here were tropical fruit, red grape, honey lemon, and while our notes here are a little bit different, and you can see it, and this is really like,
yeah, I get honey lime.
yeah, this is definitely on the more side of fermentation. This is like heavier, more heavily fermented, I believe, which would explain the way it tastes as well.
Yeah.
Super nice, smells amazing. I mean, definitely more on the wine-like end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good. And then we have Ona.
From Ona Coffee Roasters from Australia. Again, more papers that they give you, all this information, and thank God for the translation app. Otherwise, we wouldn't really be able to read it. This is an Ethiopian, and it's actually a mix of washed and natural, and also carbonic maceration worked in there. Now, I'm not sure if that is both washed and natural being carbonic macerated, or just a natural. Definitely would love to learn more. You know, if you're watching out there, Ona Coffee, and we know that you are, please let us know in the comments. More info on this would be great. And, this is like,
That's good, man.
that's so good, especially now that it's cooled down. Like, coat your tongue, nice body, nice mouthfeel.
It's interesting. I wrote down like Biscoff cookie. Like I think those are made with almonds or hazelnuts or a mix of both or something. But there's like this one has that depth that first coffee that we tasted, the homegrown, did not really have. You know what I mean? Homegrown was not complex. It was interesting and beautiful. But this had that sort of like, it's almost like the sort of mustiness that you could get by doing the carbonic maceration. But it isn't wildly. It's like kind of just centered in like a Biscoff cookie. You kind of taste it and you're like, huh, it's a little more interesting, but it's not crazy sweet. It's not like chocolate. It's just kind of like a little bit interesting, and it kind of has that layer of a little bit interesting, not wildly annoying.
Yeah, this is definitely well balanced and just a great, damn good coffee.
Damn good coffee. Yeah, I put Biscoff cookie, like hazelnut and almond, and then sour cherry fruit. What did you put?
I put like the color purple, blueberries,
And what was that?
grape, and then the actual tasting notes are mixed berries, vanilla ice cream, and chocolate.
Yeah.
And I feel like when they say vanilla ice cream, like I'm getting that in the sense of like the mouthfeel, where it's little like more body than you'd get in a natural coffee, but way more sweetness than you'd get in washed coffee. And that's the beauty of this blend. I see it as.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool though. There's some good stuff in there that's like not bright stuff. It's like nice and mellow stuff. Sweet. And then we have the Dungeness crab. No, what's it?
The Ethiopia Danche. Code Black Coffee Roasters. I believe they're out of Korea. And yeah, this one was also really nice. But I had said like it tasted like a dirty martini, but really I think what I meant was it's kind of like lemon rind and dry vermouth. That's kind of how I saw it. I thought it was pretty good. We have any more of that?
We got
Get
a little.
another.
We got a little
Get
more.
another sip.
Yeah. So I put that there was like, you know, a sweet and sourness to it, but I put that there's like a butterscotch in there. There's like this like lowness, which I think when he was thinking like dirty martinis have that all just so it kind of brings the flavor profile a little more down, like a mouthfeel a little bit low, as they say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like if you just get like a martini, even a dry martini, it's like almost like bright and clear. That the olive juice often brings it lower, and this has that lowness. Where I was like, it says brown sugar, I think, in the thing.
Yeah,
whereas I
so-
wrote butterscotch, like that sort of lower sugariness. Not like not like sugar from a cherry, but sugar from butterscotch.
I'm definitely getting like the other tasting notes with peach and oolong. I feel like I'm getting the oolong now, where I thought maybe gin, but honestly, or maybe a dry vermouth. But it kind of reminds me of like a lighter oolong tea.
Actually, I'm really getting that oolong notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does it say peach?
Peach. Yeah, peach.
I ain't got any peach.
Nah.
peach.
Now, what was cool is that when I was at Coffee Mamaea and I'm talking to the barista there, I got to ask him all sorts of questions. And one of those questions was, how's the water? And
Where is Jimmy Hoffa?
where is he? Who killed? Anyway, so our water, the water that we're using, I've tested it. It's around 220 ppm. The water at Coffee Mamaea, and apparently a lot of other cafes that have the reverse osmosis, is around 80 ppm. Now, as to what the ratio of minerals is there, it's probably a little different than here. The water sources are obviously very different. But I think that the water quality and the amount of minerals in the water are all going to affect the flavors, and that's why we're not necessarily getting the exact same tasting notes. Aside from the fact that we're doing it as espresso, and most of the time,
I mean, there's so many things.
You know, there's
We're
so
doing
many
it as
factors.
espresso. It's going to change over days after roast.
Yup, yeah.
It's going to change batch roasted as well, like over time. There's so many things that are going to change. It's
true.
Also, we could just be wrong.
That's
possible.
Don't believe it.
But yeah, obviously, just because you got the package doesn't mean you're going to get that in the package. However, that's kind of why we do this. So we can say, hey, this is what we get. You might get this in the package, you might not. You might get what we get. If you get it around the time we get it, then you're more likely to get what we get. Yeah, that is tasty though. Real tasty coffee. And I get
Yeah.
that oolong now. That oolong's nice. I believe that's everything for this set right here,
Our
the Japanese
Japan set.
We'll have another Japanese set coming up because Rob has shipped a bunch of coffee from Japan as well.
We'll have quite a few. Yeah, we'll have quite a few coming hopefully soon. And I'm really excited because I got to hit coffee shops all over Japan, and some that I knew, some that I didn't. And it'll be fun to taste all those as espresso.
They make good coffee.
Yeah.
They make real good coffee. I'm Dave.
And I'm Rob.
Cheers.
Cheers.